Okay, thank you. My name is Jeff Hutchinson. I'm a graduate student at UF working with Dr. Ken Langland, mainly focusing on old world climbing fern. But I'm not sure how familiar you are with ferns, but we have two invasive species in Florida. One is old world climbing fern, and it's primarily south of Orlando, even though it's starting to spread a little bit past Orlando. And we also have a Japanese climbing fern, which is mainly Orlando north, even though it has been found down in this area, probably down to Lake Placid, and it's even been found in Miami, but it's more of a problem up north. Neither one is really a pasture weed. They're mostly weeds of natural areas. Where you're most likely to find them in a pasture or ranch type situation is in like along ditches, or if you have an isolated cypress strand or cypress dome, or a bay swamp or a maple swamp. Both of these ferns can easily take over these wetland areas. They grow up to 40, 50 feet up into the trees. They can basically cover the entire ground. They're also very pyrogenic. They burn easily, and I've seen them kill 300-year-old cypress trees in state parks during prescribed burns. Distinguishing them, Japanese climbing fern is more of a triangular shape. The individual leaflets on the Japanese climbing fern are typically triangular in shape, kind of go towards a tip. And they're wider at the base, and they get narrower as they go to the tip. With the old world climbing fern, the leaflets are more oval in shape, typically narrow at the beginning and end, or the base and the tip. And the middle two-thirds are typically the widest part. I don't have an example of old world climbing fern here, but this is an example of Japanese climbing fern if y'all would like to pass it around. Okay. Anyway, one of the problems we have is controlling the fern, controlling the rhizomes. We've done some translocation work using radioactive material at the University of Florida. And it's real easy to kill both of these ferns with herbicide. It translocates down to the end of the leaflet, but it doesn't seem to spread along the rhizome. So in our treatment, we're suggesting that you do a complete foliar spray of the fern using glyphosate. When it's growing into the canopy, and we don't have a good example here, but like I said, it can grow 30 to 40 feet up into the canopy and basically cover an entire wetland. So when it's growing into the canopy, we suggest that you cut it around 3 to 4 feet and kind of mash the stuff down the ground and then do a complete foliar spray, typically using glyphosate at 1 to 3% product. And we have in the booklet you were given, there's on page 14 it talks about old world climbing fern, and most of this stuff applies to Japanese climbing fern. But again, it's important when you're treating the fern to get complete coverage of the fern. And if it's a heavy infestation, which I don't know if any of y'all have seen a real heavy infestation of it, like in a cypress swamp, but it's going to take 4 or 5 treatments just to get it down to a manageable level, because the way this stuff grows, it just covers everything, and you're not going to, no matter how good a sprayer you are, you're not going to get every single stem. So within 3 to 6 months, you're going to get resprouts, and it's important to go back in and monitoring it. The Japanese climbing fern has been around for over 100 years in the state, and it's more of a problem in the Panhandle, and I haven't seen it being a big problem this far south, even though around Citrus County I've seen it in a pine plantation covering about 3 acres. Old world climbing fern, on the other hand, has been around for about 40 years and now covers over 100,000 acres, primarily in southern Florida, and it's been found in the middle of the Everglades. And both plants spread by these minute spores, which easily blow in the wind, and it's probably increased its range from the hurricanes we've had and the typical southeast winds. And it's thought that the spores can blow for miles just on a normal wind patterns. So the spores are out there, and if you have any type of wetland areas or ditches, you're probably going to find it on your property. And again, it's mostly a serious weed of natural areas.